Hey everyone, Dorrani here from VG247, and I was given a chance to play and get hands-on with Scarlet Nexus. The gameplay you're seeing on screen is B-roll provided to us, but let's talk about it and my 3 hours spent with the game, but bear in mind, this is not a review. Firstly, what is Scarlet Nexus? Their official website synopsis reads, in a far distant future, a psionic hormone was discovered in a human brain, granting people extrasensory powers and changed the world as we knew it. As humanity entered a new era, deranged mutants known as the Others began to descend from the sky with a hunger for human brains. Highly resistant to the conventional attack methods, extreme measures needed to be taken to battle the overwhelming threat and preserve humanity. So the game starts with you being initiated into the organization known as the OSF, the Others Suppression Force, tasked with defending against the Others. The Others are the funky looking enemies you'll see in just a moment. You have the choice to play as either Yuito or Kasune, who are wielders of the ability Psychokinesis, which the game's combat revolves heavily around, and what I'm going to be speaking about a lot in this video because years of playing Ness in Smash Bros has led me to this moment where I'm not judged for spamming PK attacks. So you've been linked into the OSF neural network and commence your virtual training. This is the tutorial. Basics on how to control the game, how to attack, how to throw trash cans at your enemies. It starts off pretty basic here, teaching you the bread and butter. You learn that the purple bar at the bottom of your screen is your PK gauge and you have to manage that in combat, and things like different items have different weights, so it takes longer to press the right trigger to grab and throw them. You learn about the step in and rush attacks to keep the combat going so you can weave melee attacks and PK attacks seamlessly. And once the tutorial was done, I was a little worried. I thought, wait, is that it? This limited moveset can't be it, right? Boy, was I wrong, because at the end of my 3-hour play session, I was throwing trains and catching enemy projectiles and throwing them back mid-combo. It was nuts. So you'll conclude your training and go on to some story beats that set up what's to come. Yuito and Kasune have different starts to the game, and you'll meet the other members of your team through various cutscenes. The cutscenes are definitely something that caught my attention, and I'm not sure everyone will like it. The cutscenes are laid out almost like an interactive comic book and definitely leans into the manga anime style Scarlet Nexus is going for. It's an interesting style, but anyways, you'll be assigned missions to go on, and with every mission I played, a new layer of combat was unlocked, and it's got depth. It's got that depth where you've got so many inputs and abilities, you forget that you have certain moves that you can use, and that was only in my first 3 hours of playing. So I can only imagine the options available towards the latter part of the game. There's skill trees to further your combat effectiveness and a passive ability that essentially just gives you a steroid and speeds up all of your attacks. There's so many options. Combat wise, one thing I found cool is that your allies are not just here to support the story, but on missions you can chop and change them in the party system because they actually provide elemental buffs and add new moves to your PK attacks when activated. Take a look at the bottom right of your HUD. You can have up to 4 teammates supporting you, and you can make your bond stronger with these teammates by doing bond episodes, which in turn give you even more abilities shared with said teammates. For example, one of them, you can turn invisible, and then when you break invisibility, you do a huge backstab attack. World of Warcraft rogues, you're gonna love this one. There's others that give your sword and PK attacks fire damage or electric damage, and these elemental types play into the game's elemental rock, paper, scissors, where certain attack types are more effective against certain enemies. The combat feels clean. There was a point where it all clicked right at the end of my playthrough where I just felt like a badass, and the combos were flowing, and the quick time events that trigger to finish certain enemies give you big anime hero vibes. I thought the QTE moves would get stale and intrusive after a while, but nope. There's 2 types of QTE attacks. One where you hold the left trigger to pick up certain items on the battlefield. These items are heavier than normal items, so they take longer to grab, but once you throw them, it will prompt you to do a certain input on the controller for a big attack move. The other QTE is a finisher that pops up when you've depleted the enemy's stun bar of sorts. You'll be prompted to press the left trigger and it goes into this cool animation, and when you do, the enemies drop a guaranteed health item and other things to sell because there is a shop for armor upgrades and consumables. There's a game on Nintendo Switch called Astral Chain that is so good and didn't get any love, but the combat in Scarlet Nexus really reminds me of that a lot, which is a massive compliment. And just a closing statement for the combat, it feels just as good as it looks. Sometimes seeing a game's combat and actually playing it are 2 different things, but rest assured it is very, very satisfying. Anyways, onto the level design. It seems pretty straightforward. It looks nice with their quote brain punk future style, and you just make your way through a dungeon-like fashion of killing the trash mobs, then mini boss, and then boss. But I believe that's enough for a game like this. It's more about, do you have the skills to actually kill these enemies? And that's not a bad thing, but I feel like they've just focused more on the combat instead of the level design. And the hub area, when you're doing your downtime between missions, that feels a little bit empty as well. Character-wise, if you're an anime fan, you will find every single character style in here. You've got the protagonist who is OP that doesn't know it yet. You've got the friend who just wants to hook up with girls and gets nosebleeds every time he comes into contact with a girl. You've got a tiny female who is ridiculously strong. It's all in here, but I'm very interested to see where the story goes with all of them, because the playtest left on a pretty big cliffhanger. The enemy design is pretty abstract and disturbing. The others are a mixture of normal household items, or not even household items, but normal stuff that you see day to day in the world, mixed with like humanoid and animal parts, and it's just weird. I've got no way to describe it. You have to just see it on screen. The soundtrack is hype and complements what's going on screen, and overall I'm excited for Scarlet Nexus. And the great thing is you'll be able to play it soon, with the demo coming to Xbox Series X and S on the 21st of May and the PS5 and 4 on the 28th of May. So you won't have to take my word for it. You can experience it for yourself. It's a win-win. Anyways, just a short video this time. My name is Dorrani from VG247. Make sure you check out our website, VG247.com. Take care, everyone. Peace out.